Rodgers is the second greatest quarterback of all time, right behind Tom Brady. Welcome in, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hope that you guys are doing well, and I hope that you had a good NFL Week 18 weekend, like I did. Being an Aaron Rodgers fan and a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I had a very good NFL Week 18 weekend and was very happy with the results. So, this was the final regular season game of this NFL season. Still a couple of playoff spots were left to be determined. So, we got a lot of good games to talk about. Um, a lot of good players stood out this weekend. And I'm just going to give my overall take on NFL Week 18 action. And after that, we're going to preview NFL playoffs. We're going to take a look at the NFL wildcard round, the matchups, and I'm going to make some predictions as well. So, some particular games that we're going to talk about in this one. We're going to talk about the big matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and Seattle Seahawks. So, this was a battle between Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold to see who's going to be the top seed, the number one team in the NFC, and get a first week bye in the playoffs. We had a big matchup between the Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Bryce Young versus Baker Mayfield, to see who's going to make the playoffs from those two teams. And of course, we had the huge Sunday night football matchup, Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens, Aaron Rodgers versus Lamar Jackson, to see who's going to win the AFC North division and make the playoffs. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. Again, we're going to talk about NFL Week 18 in the first half of the show. And second half, we're going to take a look at the matchups for the wild card round and make some predictions. So before we jump into all of that, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to other people's lives. So if you guys find value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. All right, let's jump into NFL Week 18. All right, so the first game we're gonna jump into is the big matchup we had between the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So this was a game between Bryce Young of the Panthers versus Baker Mayfield of the Buccaneers. So in this game, whichever team won the game would end up winning their division, the NFC South, and making the playoffs. But the Bucks also had to have the New Orleans Saints win their game against the Atlanta Falcons to win the division and make the playoffs. So huge matchup in this one. Um, and as we can see, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to get the win 16-14, which I was very happy about, rooting for my hometown team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the job still wasn't done. Um, this game was on Saturday. So on Sunday, they needed the New Orleans Saints to win their game against the Falcons. And unfortunately, that did not happen. And as a result, even though the Bucks won this game and they're 8-9, all three teams in the division are 8-9. The Carolina Panthers advanced to the playoffs due to a tiebreaker advantage that they have in the division. So, as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan for my hometown team, I was definitely disappointed, but the Bucks haven't played very well this whole season, so I'm not really surprised. But let's take a look at some of the game leaders in this one. All right, for the Panthers, Bryce Young, he went 24 for 35, 266 yards, two touchdowns, one interception. Their rookie wide receiver, McMillan, had four receptions for 85 yards. So just kind of a solid game by Bryce Young in this one. On the other side, Baker Mayfield, he went 16 for 22, 203 yards, one touchdown, and one interception. Bucky Irving, 85 yards rushing, and Aden had 94 yards receiving with a touchdown. All right, so just kind of solid games by each of the quarterbacks. Nothing too amazing, nothing too bad. Um, so again, the Bucks put themselves in this situation where they didn't have control over their playoff destiny. They needed this win and a Saints win, so they got their job done. The thing that they could control, they beat the Panthers 16-14, but unfortunately, the Saints did not win their game, and the Bucks are out of the playoffs. Um, a lot of people at the beginning of the season had the Bucks as potentially a Super Bowl pick, um, definitely making the playoffs, and they were leading their division most of the year. But towards the end, they just kind of fell apart. They had some injuries as well. So for my hometown Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm definitely disappointed, and I definitely don't think people saw the Carolina Panthers making the playoffs this season, but they were good enough to get in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. All right. So the next game we're going to talk about is the big matchup on Saturday night. We had the Seattle Seahawks go up against the San Francisco 49ers. So this was a matchup between Sam Darnold of the Seahawks versus Brock Purdy of the 49ers. Big game to determine which team is going to be the number one seed in the NFC and have a first week bye in the playoffs and have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So this was a huge game just because by being the top seed in the NFC and having those advantages that I just mentioned, the probability of getting to the Super Bowl is so much easier and so much higher that it's a huge game, and the teams were definitely battling it out. So in this one, the Seahawks, they get the big win, 13-3. They get the number one seed in the NFC, and they're gonna have a first week bye in the playoffs and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And as a result, they are the team with the best odds to win the Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and take a look at the game leaders in this one. For the Seattle Seahawks, Sam Darnold, he went 20 for 26, 198 yards, zero touchdowns, zero interceptions. Kenneth Walker, 97 yards rushing, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, 84 yards receiving. 49ers, Brock Purdy, 19 for 27, 127 yards, zero touchdowns, one interception. Christian McCaffrey, only 23 yards rushing. All right, so not a very good offensive game at all by the 49ers. They only scored 3 points in this one. So they're definitely disappointed with this loss, but they still had a very good season with all the injuries that they had with Bosa, Fred Warner, and also Brock Purdy being injured. So, still a very good regular season for the 49ers, even though they don't get the number one seed, but they can still make some serious noise in the playoffs. What else to say about the Seahawks? Again, they are the odds on favorite to win the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold had an amazing season last year with the Vikings. He comes over to the Seahawks. We're not sure what it's going to look like. Is he going to have another great season? Is he going to revert back to being the old Sam Darnold where he struggled? But he has another amazing season, 14-3. His team is number one seed. He's played really well all season. He's got an amazing team. So Sam Darnold continues to have success in the NFL. He's balling out again, and the Seahawks might be headed to the Super Bowl. All right, so I just want to briefly talk about the Miles Garrett sack record. So Miles Garrett sets the record for number of sacks in the regular season. He gets a total of 23 sacks, which beats the previous record, which was 22 and a half sacks by Michael Strahan. And also TJ Watt had 22 and a half sacks. So Miles Garrett is the leader on that list now. He got that this past Sunday versus Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. So Miles Garrett has had a really amazing season this year. I watched a video that showed all 23 of his sacks, and he's just a monster. He's just unstoppable, and he was able to get the record in the final game of the regular season. So good job by him. Good for him. And the NFL did expand to 17 games in the regular season. So he got it in 17 games. But while those other two guys that I mentioned, Michael Strahan and TJ Watt, got it in 16 games. Um, but nonetheless, he still gets the record. He gets the most number of sacks and the least amount of snaps, if you want to look at it that way. So that was just some other amazing news from the NFL this weekend. All right, guys. So next, we're going to talk about the best game of the weekend, the most exciting game, the game that I was most looking forward to, and the game that would determine the final team that gets in the playoffs. So this was Sunday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens versus Pittsburgh Steelers, Lamar Jackson versus Aaron Rodgers. Winner wins the AFC North Division, gets in the playoffs. Loser goes home. So huge, huge game. I love Aaron Rodgers. He's my favorite NFL player. As a result, rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. They've had an up and down season. Ravens have also had an up and down season. So just an amazing game to look forward to. And it definitely did not disappoint at the very end. The Steelers survive the Ravens. They get the win 26-24. They get in the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers is back in the playoffs. Let's check out the game leaders in this one. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 11 for 18, 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So Lamar Jackson had some amazing plays in this one. A few different deep balls. and he wasn't running the ball that well, but his passing game was very good. Derrick Henry, 126 yards rushing. A lot of that came in the first half. In the second half, he didn't have as much success. Zay Flowers had a good game, 138 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns. So, a pretty good offensive game by the Ravens. On the Steelers side, Aaron Rodgers, 31 for 47, 294 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. So, an amazing game by Aaron Rodgers. Might be his best game of the season so far. Jalen Warren, 66 yards rushing, and Kenneth Gainwell, 64 yards receiving. All right. So, we got a lot of stuff to say about this game. So, I pretty much said all that I needed to say as far as the importance of this game. Um, in the first quarter, the Ravens were playing better. They had a 10-0 lead on the Steelers. And I was worried as a Steelers fan just because the offense was struggling and it did not look very good. At the end of the first half, it was 10-3 for the Ravens. But in the second half, the Pittsburgh Steelers offense played a lot better. Aaron Rodgers was just a mastermind. He he looked in control of the whole offense. He was just dissecting the whole defense and carving them up. I was very impressed by Aaron Rodgers in this game. And at the very end of the game, the Pittsburgh Steelers get a touchdown. And on their extra point, Boswell misses the extra point. So instead of being up 3 points, 27-24, it's only 26-24. Ravens drive down the field. Looks like they might get stopped at midfield, but on a fourth down, they get a big play from Lamar Jackson to Isaiah Likely. They get the first down. And as I was, worried, the worst thing about watching NFL is watching your team lose the game on a last second play, like a field goal. And that's exactly what was about to happen in this game. Ravens attempt a field goal to win the game 27-26, but their rookie kicker misses the kick, and the Steelers survive and hold on to their 26-24 lead and win the game. So it was just the second half, the fourth quarter, honestly, it was just filled with drama, filled with anxiety. And I don't know, it was just a lot of different plays that happened. Um, the Steelers had a lot of chances to win the game before this last final play, but the Ravens were just not giving up. And in the end, it just comes down to a missed field goal, and the whole narrative for each of the team changes as a result. So, as an Aaron Rodgers fan and a Steelers fan, I went from being about to be extremely disappointed because I was expecting the field goal to be made, going from that to being just incredibly positively shocked that the field goal was missed and that the Steelers were in the playoffs. So it was just, in a split second, going from very disappointed to incredibly happy with the results. So that's why we watch the NFL. It's the emotional roller coaster that we as fans go through, and you never know what's going to happen until the game ends. So good job by the Steelers getting the win, no matter how it looked. And great job by Aaron Rodgers, just being a mastermind on the field. And I do think he is, in my opinion, the second greatest quarterback of all time behind Tom Brady. And I do think he's coming back next season with the Steelers. No matter what happens in the playoffs, he looks good. I think he wants to come back. I think the Steelers want him back. So we'll see what happens, but great job by the Steelers. All right, guys. So it's that time of the year. It's the best time of the year in the NFL season. The playoffs are here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the NFL playoff picture. We're going to take a look at the matchups in the wild card round that are going to happen next weekend. And of course, let's go ahead and make some predictions. So let's see who's playing who in the wild card round. So we have the Houston Texans against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. We have the Buffalo Bills versus Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Los Angeles Chargers versus New England Patriots in New England. And that's the AFC side. On the NFC side, we have the Los Angeles Rams versus the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. San Francisco 49ers versus Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. And we have the Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears in Chicago. Amazing matchups, best time of the NFL season. This is why we watch the NFL. All right, let's go ahead and make some predictions. So we'll just go here top left to bottom and then top right to bottom. So we'll do AFC and then NFC. So we have Houston Texans and CJ Stroud with their really good defense versus Aaron Rodgers, who's getting DK Metcalf back in this game. And this game is in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, honestly, this is a coin flip game. Both of these teams have had up and down seasons. Both of the quarterbacks are good. Defenses are good. So it's just kind of a toss up game. I wouldn't be surprised if one or the other won this game, but I do think the Steelers get the win in this one. It's in Pittsburgh, so that atmosphere is going to be amazing. DK Metcalf is going to be back. I think Aaron Rodgers and the offense will perform well. The Steelers' defense should be solid and good enough to stop or slow down CJ Stroud. So, again, I think this is a coin flip game, but my pick is the Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers' experience and calmness, and the fact that it's in Pittsburgh, I think that gets the Steelers over the edge and they get the win in this one. Next matchup, Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen versus Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. So this is going to be an amazing game, amazing offensive game, most likely. Two of the best quarterbacks, most exciting quarterbacks, Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence. So the Bills have just kind of been solid the whole season, nothing too amazing, nothing too bad. The Jags have just been a really amazing team this regular season. Trevor Lawrence playing amazing. And this one is in Jacksonville. So in this one, tough decision again. Either of these teams could win the game, but I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen to get the win. I'm worried about the Jacksonville Jaguars just from history. Um, they look, pretty and fancy on the field, but they've just had some really bad games and also really bad games in the playoffs. And I just don't trust the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence as much as I trust Josh Allen and the Bills. But I think I might be rooting for the Jags just because I like Trevor Lawrence. But my expectation and pick is that the Bills and Josh Allen get this win versus the Jags in Jacksonville. Next one, Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert versus New England Patriots and Drake May. I'm going to go with the Patriots in this one. They've had a better season. Um, both of the quarterbacks are really good. I mean, I think Justin Herbert at this point is a little bit better than Drake May, but I think the Patriots as an organization and as a team are better, and they've looked more impressive this season. So, and they are playing at home in New England. So I'm going to go with the Patriots to get the win over the Los Angeles Chargers. Jumping over to the NFC, we have the Los Angeles Rams going to Carolina. So it's going to be Stafford versus Bryce Young. I mean, I think on paper, this should be the easiest game to predict. I think the Rams should get an easy win in this one. They've been the better team for sure. The Panthers probably shouldn't even be in the playoffs, theoretically, even though they deserve it because they won their division. It is in Carolina. Um, so the Carolina is going to have that home field advantage. But I think Matthew Stafford is just going to be too much for the Panthers. Bryce Young is not anywhere near Stafford's level. So Rams over Panthers in this one. Next one, we have the San Francisco 49ers versus Philadelphia Eagles. This one is hard to predict as well. So we got Brock Purdy going to Philadelphia to play Jalen Hurts. Both of these teams have been up and down this whole season. Um, but I trust the Eagles in this one more. They're playing at home, they're the defending Super Bowl champs. I think the Eagles have a better defense. I think the Eagles' offense is going to kick into gear with Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown. I think that's going to look a lot better than the regular season. And I just trust the Eagles a little bit more than I do the 49ers. So Eagles over 49ers. And last but not least, we have a huge matchup, two rivals from the NFC North going head to head. Green Bay Packers going to Chicago. It's going to be Jordan Love versus Caleb Williams. So this was going to be an amazing game as well. I think as far as the quarterback matchup, I like Caleb Williams better than I do Jordan Love. And this game is in Chicago, so they're going to have a home field advantage. And both of the head coaches are really good in this one. Matt LaFleur of the Packers versus Ben Johnson of the Bears. But I think the Bears have just been a more impressive team this season. And the fact that the Green Bay Packers lost Micah Parsons is a huge deal on defense. So I'm going to go with Bears over the Packers in this one. And that would wrap up the wild card round in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Can't wait to watch these games. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to cover for NFL Week 18. I really hope you guys got some value and entertainment out of this content and this video. If you did, Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that like button, make some comments about what you thought of NFL Week 18 and the upcoming NFL wildcard round games and who you think is going to win. So that's it for this one.